Hey, how's it going? My name is Jackie Fish and welcome to Total War Warhammer 2. So one of my previous videos, which I did about 6, 7, 8 months ago, has been picking up a lot of traction recently and you guys seem to have been really enjoying the video. So I thought I'd go ahead and recreate that with the new status of the game. So that video was the AI only kind of simulated campaign where I just time-lapsed the entire campaign with kind of a really awesome mod and just saw how things turned out, and if I needed to, I would intervene with other mods that would make people attack each other and just kind of create an interesting scenario in the campaign. And as I said, you guys seem to be really enjoying that. So what I thought I'd do now is just go ahead and redo some of them videos, because obviously there's been so many DLC characters added to the campaign itself. I thought it'd make for a very interesting time-lapse video and to see how them, new additions have changed the way that the Vortex campaign and the Grand campaign does go down. So what we're going to be doing in today's video is we're going to be testing out the Vortex campaign. Now this mod that I'm using right now, which I'll leave a link to in the description, is actually a little bit different to the mod that I used previously. The mod that I used previously was made by the guy who does all the legendary Lord unlockers, the characters and faction unlockers. And I assume he's just super busy with all of them and other projects, so he never updated the previous mod I used. However, this mod is a separate one, but obviously follows the same idea, and he's kind of just like made his own mod variant of it, this other modder, so I highly recommend checking it out. I'll leave a link to it in the description down below, but I just wanted to give him a massive shout out, because without him updating this mod or making this mod, I wouldn't be able to make these videos. So yeah, a big shout out to him. So what we're going to do is we're going to load up into the Vortex campaign, which is one of the campaigns I didn't actually do previously, which is very interesting, because yeah, we saw the Grand campaign and the dwarfs just wrecked house on that one. However, in the Vortex campaign, obviously there are no main dwarven factions here, so we're gonna have to see how that goes down. However, there is obviously we have the addition of Marcus, we have the addition of Nakai. We won't be playing as him because that's who we're currently playing as, so you won't actually really see him do anything. He's just situated here with the AI kind of turned off, so no one will talk to me and we'll just run through the campaign like normal. So yeah, we have a bunch of additions in the campaign itself, obviously mainly down here in Lustria. We got Marcus, you've got the Dread Fleet right here, you've got the new Skaven stuff, you've got the new Lizard Men down here as well. So this is going to be a Thunderdome, and it'll be very interesting to see who comes out on top. Obviously, you've got every faction trying to complete their Vortex campaign or other missions. You've got the Vampire Coast moving around, causing some issues. So it should just be a very interesting campaign. So as I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just try my best to like place the camera. I'm going to let the campaign run through the 200 turns plus of whatever, and I'll just be pausing the turn timer and taking a look at when interesting stuff happens. So let me know in the comments down below if you like this type of video. If you want to see more of it, also let me know, because I'd be happy to do, tests with Steel Faith Overhaul, Grimhammer, Radius mod, back on the Grand campaign. And also let me know what you prefer the style. Would you prefer me just to let the time lapse play so you can kind of see all the craziness happen, or would you prefer me just to cut between that, not show the time lapse and just cut between stuff happening? So yeah, just let me know in the comments down below and let's get this bad boy started. guys, so we're going to stop it there. We're about, I think, about like 30 turns into the campaign so far. Unfortunately, I can't zoom in and take a look at everything quite yet. We have to wait until the 50 turns has passed before I can look at diplomacy and zoom in and see everything. But right now, I thought we'd stop it because the first rituals have now begun. We have the Dark Elves of Nagaron doing their ritual first, and then there's going to be followed by the Skaven, I think it's Clan Pestilence down there to the south, and Skrillex. So if you take a look at the map right now, you can see the Tomb Kings have formed a pretty strong base for themselves down here in the desert. You got the Dwarven miners holding firm in the hills. Over on the Lustrian jungle, the Orcs have actually secured a ton of territory down here, but I think they're going to be running into the Lizardmen pretty soon. Mazdamundi is going to come and start slapping the dirty, filthy Orcs as he's secured, again, a pretty nice stronghold for himself. I think the biggest one, though, is the Skaven up here in the north. I can't remember what faction this is. I know exactly is this faction right here. I should have stopped it a second ago. Can we actually go back? Oh, Clan Rickus. This is the guy who breaks diplomatic treaties. And again, the Skaven doing a pretty nice job. I think the Dark Elves are eventually just going to clear him out when they get around to it, for sure. Yeah, I think definitely the Dark Elves will clear them out. So a very, very strong High Elves as always. There's very little that I think is going to change unless we do this again at some point in the future and we make it so that the High Elves can't confederate and that they're just at war with each other, like everyone's fighting everyone, like a battle royale. Then maybe we won't get a super strong Elf one, but we always are, right? You know, Tyrion's just going to confederate with every High Elf on Elf 1 and just be mega, mega strong. So we'll have to see if anyone else can really challenge him. The last defenders are coming a bit further north, and don't worry guys, when we do hit turn 50, which will be pretty soon, I can just move the camera down and we'll take a look at the entire map. It's just right now during the end turns I can't quite do that. But yeah, as I said, some interesting things. I wasn't expecting the Clan Rickus to do as well as it's doing so far, but we'll probably end up seeing them crumble very, very soon, and we'll have to see what happens elsewhere around the map. Do keep an eye on these event messages. I know it's going quite fast in the sped up time, but do try to keep an eye on this because this is showing you who's going to war with each other and everything along that. So yeah, let's jump back into the turn timers and we'll see who's getting destroyed at turn 50. Okay, so we are now 50 turns into the Vortex campaign, and this is what we are seeing right now. So, as you can see up here, we do have Nagaron just overwhelming so much of the land up here in the north. Yeah, really making a huge stronghold for themselves. This is actually a very, very strong Nagaron. I mean, obviously the Dark Elves are always going to come out, like, really up there, but I swear by turn 50, they're normally still kind of, you know, taking this territory up here. So, a very, very powerful one. Mazdamundi, honestly, has been slowed up pretty heavily by the Orcs here, and doesn't actually seem like he's doing too great, if I'm honest. We do have a pretty strong Lizard faction here. Actually, no, it's not even the Lizards, it's the Tomb Kings down here to the south, really securing a lot of territory. Tetlus has taken a couple, but not really that much. The Dreadfleet has been, yeah, beaten back here, I think, right? Because doesn't someone normally start down here? And they've actually been beaten as well on the tip of Lustria. So, yeah, the High Elves being broken away, and I think the Dark Elves have been broken away from there as well. Even though, actually, no, the Dreadfleet's right here, right? Yeah, there you go. There's the Admiral. So I think they've been pushed up, right? Because don't they normally start down here a little bit? Maybe I'm mistaken. Over in Lustria, the Last Defenders have secured a nice little bit of territory for themselves. And as always, I think we generally do see this. The Skaven down here don't really stand much of a chance. They are actually being besieged by the High Elves. Yeah, they just get overrun by better factions, really, down there in the south. But yeah, the Last Defenders doing nice, considering they generally struggle. They've done a pretty solid setup for their faction. Tomb Kings have secured a decent amount, but it seems like they've recently lost territory to opposing factions in the past couple, like 10 turns, I think. And then obviously Tyrion doing a pretty decent job. He's just dealing with some of these pirates as well who have come out and have been assaulting him. But it looks like Tyrion has sent some forces to go and deal with that from both sides. So let's take a quick look at diplomacy. Let's see who is the strongest faction right now. So if we go to strength rating, yeah, no surprise there. Nagaron is first, and they have 30 settlements already. That is absolutely insane. And at the moment, Malekith is just taking all this territory in the Chaos Wastelands. 30 settlements already. Second is going to be Mazdamundi, followed by the Last Defenders. So if Mazdamundi and the Last Defenders confederate, they'll be extremely strong. And then the fourth strongest faction again is another Lizardman. This is Gorok as well. So he's one of the 3 LC Lords we recently got in the previous patches. Wolfheart's doing pretty decent. So as you can see, a lot of powerful factions down here in Lustria. Yeah, literally, like so many of these guys are up there. Surprisingly, Tyrion isn't really that high up. He's only the 8th strongest faction in the game, but I imagine as soon as he does confederate with people, it'll become a lot different. But it does actually look like he's at war. Yeah, you can see he's currently at war with one of the larger High Elf factions here. So, yeah, by fighting them, that's going to be very interesting. What faction is that? Elrion. Yeah, so him fighting them is going to be huge, because if they can, like, they might literally just take over Ulthuan. They really, really could. Which is going to be very, very exciting to see how that one does pan out. The Dwarfs are in the top 10 as well, which is always great to see. I don't quite know how, because they have like one army, one settlement, one army. They're obviously going for the Gaia World strat right there. And then you guys can see anyone else interesting down here you really want to pick off. I don't think there's anyone super surprising not in the top 10. I think everyone we'd expect to be in the top 10 is in the top 10. Besides maybe like, I don't know, yeah, maybe like, you know, Tyrion, Catelys, sorry, but even Catelys, you know, he struggles until he confederates, and the weakest faction is going to be Clan Moors. I think we're going to see Clan Moors going down pretty quickly in this one, and then we're going to be left with Clan Skryre and Clan Ricket, which again, I mean, I can't imagine that the clan's going to be too long for this world. Yeah, even Clan Skryre is actually struggling down here. So the Skaven not faring too well, obviously. Which is, yeah, again, surprising, because they've got a lot of big bonuses, but maybe they just need to build some armies and they'll come back. Where is Clan Ricket in this? So they're 16th. But they are at war with the Dark Elf Synth, I imagine. Yeah, I mean, he is moving into enemy territory and conquering land, but yeah, he's going to be successful here and take some land off the Dark Elves, but obviously fighting obviously fighting Malekith and his mother. She's probably going to come in and clear out most of his territory, and then they're just going to confederate, and we're going to have an absolutely huge Dark Elf faction coming in. I don't think there's any way for me to see how many rituals each faction's done, but from my, I mean, maybe there's a way? No, I don't think there is, right? If there is, let me know in the comments for next time. Yeah, it doesn't really see, but from what I can see and what I've been watching, it does seem like only the Dark Elves, or everyone's like done their first ritual, and that kind of looks about it. I'm sure we might get some pop-ups or something at some point, which does show that. So cool, let's go ahead and we'll jump ahead and we'll see what the next 50 turns has in store for us. I'm going to move the camera a little bit further down now as well, because we already know that Malekith has all this territory, so I imagine not too much crazy stuff is going to happen. So I'm going to move the camera down to like here, so you can see a bit more of Lustria, and over here as well in the Badlands. So hopefully you guys will be able to see a bit more. So let's do this. So I'm just going to let it play in the background really quickly whilst we talk about what's going on. I think this will be the better thing to do instead of pausing it, because we can't look around until the 50 turns are up anyway. So we might as well literally just, talk about it and slow it back down. So yeah, I did not expect whatsoever for the Skaven to break this far into the Dark Elves. And they basically, I think maybe they completely destroyed Morathi down here to the south, or maybe Morathi just confederated. That's probably more likely. Yeah, so I assume Malekith has come back down now, and you can see he's starting to take land back from the Skaven, but they've still dived pretty deep into this territory. So yeah, as I said, like, I was just not expecting the Skaven to do this well against the forces of the Dark Elves. Down in Lustria, you can see that Mazdamundi is kind of just sitting around. Like, he took land, but then he's just kind of stagnated and being held in place by everyone else. I think the biggest runaway right now, which I was not expecting, I mean, there's lots of stuff going on, which, yeah, just I wasn't thinking we would see, is that we do also have the Skaven down here as well. Ikit's actually taking a large amount of territory down over on this side. Yeah, I think he just took another bit of territory right here now. If we go back on ownership, sorry, I have to keep on doing this to like update it. But yeah, as you can see, Ikit took some more territory last turn as well. So he's actually carved himself out a wonderful empire. And obviously we have the Tomb Kings down here to the south as well, who are looking very, very strong. The Tomb Kings in general over on this part of the map itself are looking really powerful, especially if they can confederate with this dynasty. They'll be even stronger. And yeah, I think they are also at war with the Lizardmen, the Last Defenders, so we might see Krokgor and the Tomb Kings really go at it as territory does continue to change hands. And then obviously we have this other Lizardmen faction as well, who secured themselves a nice bit of territory. Again, I'm really interested to see how Ulthuan will develop, because I was expecting Ulthuan to unify by now, but I guess neither Alarielle or Tyrion want to confederate with one another. If it comes to the time where they do confederate with one another, I think, yeah, Ulthuan obviously just become really strong. But I don't know what the rules are with the legendary laws like that. Does Tyrion have to be a lot stronger than Alarielle to actually go ahead and confederate? I don't know, we'll have to see. So yeah, let's just jump ahead until the 50 turns are up, and we'll be on turn 101, and then we can actually jump in and look a bit more at the power rankings and see. But yeah, at this point in the campaign, let me know who you think is going to come out on top in each of these areas, because it'd be very interesting to see how this does develop, because there's a lot of things that can happen in the campaign at the moment. We can see, oh wow, and that's just a big one right there actually, before we do jump off, is look what the Last Defenders have just done. The Last Defenders have just confederated with this Lizardmen faction, so they have so much territory, and this is going to spark a huge war between the Tomb Kings. It really is. You can also see Ikit moving up there as well. So yeah, let's just let it play, and we'll see how things develop at turn 101. Okay, so we are now on turn 101, and we can finally take a proper look about what is going on. So it does, wow. Yeah, look at this. What the hell happened up here? So Alarielle went up into the Chaos Wastelands, and she decided that she wanted a piece of the pie that the Dark Elves were taking for themselves. And then we also have this this High Elf faction. Is this High Elves? Yeah, this is High Elves, right? Yeah, this High Elf faction really going in and taking themselves a whole wealth of territory up here. Some pretty, yeah, Shadow Walkers. Oh, this is Aleph and R, yeah, of course. So he's actually secured himself loads whilst the Dark Elves are busy dealing with the Skaven. So we're seeing some pretty dangerous stuff, and all of this stuff has been made to ruin as well. So I'm not sure if there's like another Skaven threat around here we just haven't discovered, or what. But yeah, it does seem like the Skaven are being destroyed by Malekith now. I imagine Malekith's army is probably, no, that's just another Lord. Yeah, Malekith's level here. He hasn't really got a big army in his, in his arsenal, but he is going to be there, and he is going to be looking to output, and deal with the Skaven once and for all, and then I guess turn around and try and deal with the High Elves. But they are, yeah, they're looking very scary as always. If we go to strength rating, Nagaron still is the strongest faction in the game, followed by the Last Defenders. The Last Defenders now have 26 settlements since they confederated, basically securing the entire south. There's a few pirates elsewhere. Oh, you can also see where Krokgar is as well, I guess, dealing with these enemies, because you can see he's at war with basically the whole of this land in the Southlands, and we'll have to see who he can do well. Where is Cetra at? Because Cetra obviously is this like, well, this is one of Cetra's armies. I wonder where he is stationed. Tyrion is sitting in the bottom. We have, oh, Noculus has gone in again, looking to take some land. He did lose that, but now he's taken it once again. One of the things I'm interested in is who the hell Tyrion's at war with. So Tyrion is at war with this High Elf faction round here as well. So maybe that will give him what he needs to, because he has made, I believe, a defensive alliance. Yeah, he's made a defensive alliance with Alafenar and also with Alariel as well. So yeah, the High Elves are looking very strong to kind of push this forward. As I said, I'm really kind of impressed that Nagaron has held on to the first place. Honestly, considering, you know, they've lost a lot of land over here. They're at war with all the High Elves. They're at war with the Tomb Kings down here. They're at war with the Skaven. They're basically surrounded by enemies, but maybe that will only make them stronger. The Lizardmen, where the hell are they? Clan Scryer as well has come up huge down here in the south. Securing a decent amount of territory, and also, wow, the Dark Elves down here as well, the Dread Fleet securing all down here and actually moving all the way down south and actually killing Tetlus. Unfortunately, he did his last cast, and you can see Ikit Claw up here in the north as well. Man, this is a Thunderdome about to go down. We have Ikit, we have Mazdamundi, we have Wolfheart, and we also have this pirate boy as well, Luther. So that's going to be an interesting little clash, because I think they're all at war with each other. Is Ikit at war? Yeah, Ikit's at war with the... He's at war with the Tomb Kings, but he's not at war with the fleet right here by the Dark Elves, by Felheart. So, yeah, I guess it's going to be pretty good for him, because he doesn't have to worry about them. But everyone else, obviously, is going to be, yeah, dangerously at war. Yeah, look at that. Marcus is at war with everyone around him besides the Tomb Kings. So a pretty deadly kind of setup so far, as we do go into turn 101. I think for the most part, we're going to see, you know, obviously a lot of factions confederate in the next 50 turns. For sure, I think the Tomb Kings have to confederate. If they don't confederate, the Last Defenders are just going to secure this entire land. And then when they confederate with with Mazdamundi, it's just going to be disgusting. If the Tomb Kings could confederate down here, that would be pretty huge. But I don't know if they'll be able to. And yeah, this is going to be a very interesting position right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably stick the camera like around about here, I would say. So you can still see, obviously, Nagaron. You can see if Alafenar comes down or anyone else comes down. And then all the interesting stuff here, you can probably already see, because this is all like one faction now, besides the Tomb King. So, yeah, I think the most interesting stuff that is happening over on the Tomb Kings, and obviously here as well. So you want to be able to see as much of this as possible. So let's jump ahead. Again, another 50 turns. I might stop it in them 50 turns to see if anything crazy is going on. But yeah, let's go ahead. Okay, so we are now turn 151. Some pretty crazy stuff happened in that last 50 turns. Obviously, notably, the High Elves confederating with Alariel and forming this super power block of, of the High Elves, taking a large portion of the Dark Elves. And the Dark Elves just can't handle the pressure. They are crumbling from the constant Skaven assaulting and also the High Elves. I would imagine, though, that the High Elves are also at war with Skaven. We can take a look at that in a second. But yeah, some pretty crazy stuff happening down there. Over here, the Lizardmen have kind of consolidated their formation and started to push northwards, but the Tomb Kings have pushed them out of the north, so it's kind of a two-faction war with the Dwarfs just hiding in their holds. And actually, I say that, they've actually pushed out right here. Yeah, you can actually see them breaking out and taking Car Summer. So shout out to the Dwarfs right there, and these Elves have re-emerged as well. The Tomb Kings failing to kill that. We are seeing, oh yeah, the Dark Elves in the south here have pushed up pretty heavily and secured the entire south. And that's kind of met with the clan, with Ikit as well, securing this. But Marcus has done a good job at reaffirming his power hold. And really the most surprising thing is that the Lizardmen have been broken right here. They only have 4 cities left. They have these 2 right here and these 2 there. So Mazda Mundi failing pretty heavily. I would love to see these Tomb Kings confederate with maybe Cetra over on this side, because I think Cetra does kind of need the support right now. And adding on all of these, all of these units to him would be a big help. So right now we're seeing obviously the High Elves, I imagine, are strength rating 1, as to be expected. Yeah, 51 settlements. That is insane right now. They have 51 whole settlements. That's crazy. In second is going to be the Forces of the Last Defenders. Krokgar has 25 settlements. The Blessed Dread of Felheart has 24, so he's doing pretty good. Clan Ricket, 16. I think this is the most surprising one out of everyone. Tomb Kings following by 18. And then power ranking 6 is going to be the Dwarfs with 4. And no one else really having. Really surprised that Ikit only, like, he has 12 settlements and he's still only power ranking 11. So I don't really know what's up with that. Luckily, Malekith is still in the top 10, but only just with strength rating 10 and only 8 settlements left. So we honestly could see him completely killed in the next 50 turns. So I'm going to play 50 turns, see how things are, and if we need another 50 turns, then I will play that. But that's probably be my limit, is turn 250. But things might be decided, and if there's a clear over, like if, for example, Tyrion just conquers everything up here, I'll give him the win at turn 200, but I wanted to at least play 200 turns. So I guess, again, we don't really need to look at anything down here, so we can really put the camera up north now, and we can see how things go, because this war is obviously just for Last Defenders and the Tomb Kings. Up here we have the Blessed Dread and Ikit, so maybe if they go to war we'd have to push it down, but I think for the most part we can just leave the camera here, move it across a little bit so it's a bit more centered, and let's go. Possibly the last 50 turns of the campaign. Let's see who comes out on top. Okay, so that is turn 200 now. So we can see kind of how the world is shaping up, and I guess to nobody's surprise, the High Elves have come out on top. They tend to really be the strongest faction in the game. It'll be interesting to do this again though sometime and see if they do come out on top when you're not allowed to confederate with people, because then if that's the case, I think the High Elves will suffer the most from that. Then obviously they basically destroyed the entire Skaven threat in the north. The Dark Elves died. Also Master Mundi died as well, which I was pretty surprised. And then we got Count Noctilus basically coming back on a rampage and securing a ton of territory up here in the north, destroying the colonists of Sartosa and everyone else right there. The Tomb Kings held firm up in the kind of central part of this continent. And then also we do have Felheart securing and basically just consolidating with the Skaven. Over on this side, we do have the Lizardmen basically destroying the Tomb Kings, or at least throwing them back. The Dwarves took, I think, 2 more settlements. And then finally, we have the Elves actually coming back from the Sea of Dread and conquering the coastline here, which was quite a funny way. So I think it's safe to say that the High Elves have definitely taken this one. They've got double the amount of places that the Blessed Dread have as they come in second. Clan Scryer is also doing pretty good with 21 settlements. The Last Defenders, 27 settlements. So they actually have the same, but they're 2 points lower. And then the Dwarfs are 5th with 6 provinces, and that's kind of around about it. Nothing else too crazy. I can't believe that Katept is power ranking 17. His armies must have just been absolutely annihilated maybe by Tyrion, because Tyrion is down here, so maybe Tyrion just pushed him down really, really hard. But yeah, that is going to be the world after 200 turns. If you guys want to see more of these AI-only battles, go ahead and suggest some mods down below in the description that I could use, whether it's Grimhammer, Radius, or any other exciting mods. I think definitely doing a Battle Royale version would be really cool. And obviously, if you also want to see this in the Grand Campaign, the Mortal Empires, let me know as well. But yeah, what did you guys think of this after 200 turns? Were you surprised? Were you not surprised? Were there any factions that really took you off guard and did really well, or did really bad? So yeah, let me know all that in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.